Hi, I'm Sophia. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do a short Pilates sequence for helping to reduce and relieve anxiety. So I find this really helpful, and I often start a longer Pilates session with some simple exercises like this just to help me calm out of my mind and into my body. So let's step onto the mat and I'll talk you through it. So first of all, let's just bring the feet into parallel and come into the body. You can do that just by taking a few rounds of breath. Notice the state of your mind, whether it's darting from one thought to the next. Notice if your mind feels busy, jumbled, cluttered. And then try and let your observations go free from any judgment. So just letting those thoughts be whatever they are. And then bring yourself into that breath. So we breathe in through the nose in Pilates, into the back of the ribs and lungs, and then out through your mouth. Breathing in through the nose, directing the breath into the back of the body, and then out through the mouth. See if you can make your exhale a few seconds longer than your inhale. So breathing in for maybe the count of 5. And then maybe out for the count of 7. Allow the breath to feel natural. And then take the breath a little deeper into the body. Always really helpful to just observe where that breath is going naturally. So whether it's high into the collarbones and chest, or whether you are able to direct it deeper inside the body. I like to breathe in with what I need and exhale with anything that's no longer serving me. If you feel comfortable with this, you could let your eyes close and just stay with that breath, letting your weight come forwards into the balls of your feet and then back into your heels. If you need to keep your eyes open to help with balance, that's fine. But if you feel nice and safe and stable, you can close your eyes. You can use a slightly bigger movement if you want, maybe coming up onto the balls of the feet. But keep it as smooth and comfortable as you can. And try as much as possible to stay with that breath. Breathing in with what you need and out with anything you don't. Okay, let's make this the last one. And then from here we're going to let our body kind of swing in a bit of a gentle circle. Feeling the weight of the body work around the outside of the feet. And again staying with that breath. So breathing in with what you need and out with anything that's not serving you. Good. Keep directing the breath inside the body, deep into the back of the ribs and lungs. And then we're going to change the direction of those circles. Just letting the weight of your body roll around the outside of your feet. Breathing steady and smooth. Good. So when you're ready, we're going to come back to the center. We're going to feel and sense the weight in the feet. So we're going to let the feet and toes relax. And then let even weight sit into the base of the big toe, the base of the baby toe, and the center of your heel. We're then going to draw the pelvis back into a nice neutral alignment. So taking the weight of the pelvis back into the heels. And then lifting through the crown of the head, finding that sense of length in the body. Still maintain that breath. So we're breathing in to the back of the ribs and body and out. Finding that little bit of centering in the tummy now. Breathing in. And then on your next exhale, we're going to float up onto the balls of the feet, floating the arms up by the ears. And then let the arms come back down again. So as you move, we're trying to keep the body in a long straight line. Lifting the crown of the head right up to the ceiling. Good. Keeping the alignment of the body. So heels, hips, shoulders, all in a nice straight line. Good, keep breathing steady and smooth, using that exhale now for a little bit of centering, feeling those abdominals hugging in gently, just enough to support you. Good, let's do a few more here, gently challenging our balance, warming through the feet and ankles, keeping that awareness of our breath. Okay, let's do one more. Exhale to lift. And then inhale to lower. Find that nice balanced weight through the feet. So base of the big toe, base of the baby toe, centre of your heel. Pelvis is as close to neutral as you can. From here, we're going to inhale. As you exhale, we're going to gently nod the head, flex the neck, let the weight of the body roll forwards as you come up and over the sternum, up and over the belly button, and then let the pelvis come up and over the thigh bones. Inhale, let the head flop. As you exhale, soften the knees, draw the pelvis back to neutral. Allow the spine to uncurl as you stand tall at the top. Inhale. Exhale, nod the head, flex the neck, come up and over the sternum, up and over the belly button, up and over the thigh bones. Inhale, let the body relax. Take your legs wider if you need to for comfort. And then exhale, we're going to roll all the way up. Inhale, stand tall. Let's just do one more here. Exhale, nod the head, flex the neck, come up and over, leaning forwards, keeping the length of the body and spine. Try not to collapse. Good, soften the knees. Let the hands come down onto the mat as you walk your feet back into your 4-point kneeling. So, placing the hands underneath the shoulders. Good, letting the shoulder blades hug the body. We are going to organise the pelvis in neutral. Inhale. As you exhale, we're going to work for a little bit of articulation through the pelvis and spine, coming up into that cat stretch, using the exhale, keeping the length of the body. Inhale. And then exhale, let's reverse it. Lift the tip of the tailbone, separate the sit bones, lift the heart, the neck, the nose. Inhale. Exhale, tuck, scoop, hollow and roll, hugging the abdominals in to support you, just gently pressing that floor away. Inhale. And then exhale, work it in the other direction. Lift that tailbone, separate the sit bones, lift the heart, the neck, the nose. Inhale. Exhale, tuck, scoop, hollow and roll the spine. Inhale. Exhale, reverse it. Lift the heart, the neck, the nose. And then when you're ready, let's return ourselves to neutral and then carefully bring ourselves over onto our sides. So I'm going to stack my legs so the shins align with the front edge of my mat. And then I'm going to stack my spine at the back edge of the mat as I organise the pelvis. So making sure that both hips are level, both shoulders are level, and my waist is active. So from here, we're going to lift that top leg up just a little, slide the knee towards the chest, and then press that foot away from you, stirring the thigh bone inside the hip, trying to keep the pelvis really still and stable as you circle that thigh bone. Breathing steady and smooth, so inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, keeping enough connection with your centre to stabilise the body, but not so much that there's any tension. Good, let's change the direction to sending the foot behind and then circling that knee around. Nice, slow, steady pace. Last circle. Good, and then let both legs relax. Good, so both knees are stacked, both feet are stacked. Then from here we're going to let your head rest onto the mat, or you could use a block or a cushion if you feel more comfortable. And then take both hands in front of you. We're now going to slide that top hand away as we reach up above our head, keeping the fingertips on the mat if you can. Circling the arm around, finding a nice stretch across the pecs, and then coming all the way around. So this exercise is our chalk circles, and we're looking for the rotation of the spine. So there's the movement and mobility of the shoulder, but we're also really looking for that rotation of the upper back, keeping the legs nice and heavy to anchor that pelvis. Let's go for 2 more in this direction, taking your time, moving at a pace that feels good for you. And then last one. Try and keep your thumb in sight, so making sure to turn your head with that movement. And then come back. Let's slide that hand away again. Take the hand down, this time over the hip. And then rotate, really gently opening the chest, mobilising that shoulder. And again, breathing steady and smooth as we work. Let your head rest on the mat. Really good. And then last one. Lovely, and then gently release. From here we're going to turn ourselves gently onto our backs, and we're going to let the legs reach long away, as long as that feels comfortable. We're then going to reach the arms up and overhead, and we're going to reach for our left arm and our right leg, stretching diagonally through the body. We're then going to release and then stretch the right arm, left leg, so the other diagonal. Breathing steady and smooth. And come back, and then again on the other side, so just switching sides, feeling the shift of weight through the pelvis. Stretching and release, and then switch again onto the other side and release. Lovely. So from here we're going to roll ourselves back up, so coming onto one side, lifting all the way up, and then organising yourself ready to work the other side of the body. So shins align with the front edge of the mat, your body aligns with the back edge of the mat. Your head can be supported on your arm, your blocks, your cushions, whatever feels good for you. And then from here, we're going to lift that top leg up, draw the knee up towards your nose, and then circle that leg around, stirring the thigh bone inside the hip. So we're using enough core connection to keep the pelvis nice and stable. So you can focus yourself on the movement of the thigh bone inside the hip. Let's go for one more in this direction, finding the biggest range of movement that's comfortable for you. And then we're going to change the direction, so taking that leg behind before you bring up and around. Get circling the thigh bone inside the hip. Breathing steady and smooth. Last one, letting that leg relax down. Well done. Let's take the arms now in front, let your head relax down, so using again blocks or cushions if that feels good, or just letting your head relax to the mat if that's okay for you. We're then going to slide that top arm away, taking the fingertips over the head, looking at your thumb, opening the chest, rotating the spine. Finding that natural range of movement that feels nice and comfortable. Keeping your fingers or thumb in sight. Knees nice and heavy. Really good. And now we're going to take the arm down over the hip, up and around, changing the direction for 5 repetitions. 4. Keeping the pelvis as stable as you can. Taking the body as far over as feels good. Breathing throughout. And then last one, coming back and relaxing. Lovely. From here we're going to carefully take ourselves onto our back, using a block or a cushion under our head to help with alignment if that's useful for you. And then organising the pelvis in neutral, so that's where hip bones and pubic bone are level to the mat. We're then going to take one leg up in towards our hands, interlacing our hands behind our hamstring, but also making sure that the pelvis hasn't moved. We're then going to pluck a cherry and then fling it overhead. So picking a cherry off a tree and then flinging it overhead. We're looking for the maximum range of movement at the foot and the ankle, and as much of a movement through the knee as you can find comfortably. So comfort is key, but also we do want to feel that we're working, keeping it nice and gentle, the pelvis nice and still. Good, let's keep it going for 4, 3, 2, and then the last one. Good, and release. Interlacing the hands now but in front of the shin. Slide the resting leg away from you and then let that knee come in and up towards you comfortably. So making sure there's no tension, no pinching, breathing steady and smooth. Coming back to that breath. Breathing in with what you need, letting go of what you don't. Carefully let that leg return to the floor. Make sure the pelvis is still neutral and then float the other leg up to tabletop, interlacing your hands behind your thigh. We're going to gently pluck a cherry and then fling it overhead. So mobilising the foot, ankle and knee. Really good. Let's keep it going for another 5 repetitions. And then last one. Good. Carefully slide your resting leg away from you, interlace your hands around your shin, and then hug that knee in and up towards you. Again, tuning into your breath. Breathing in with what you need and exhaling with what you don't. And then bringing both knees in, crossing your feet and then gently rocking from side to side. So very gently, just massaging that lower back in towards the mat as long as it feels good for you. After after a few rounds of breath, and when you feel ready, we're going to take ourselves onto one side, so carefully rolling over and then bringing yourselves up. Really good, lovely. So from here we're going to go into a seated extension. We're going to keep the pelvis in neutral, so aligning hip bones and pubic bones so it's at a right angle to the floor, and then floating the hands up and behind the head. So from here we're going to lift that heart up, lift the gaze, a little bit of extension, and then gently come back to the centre. And again, gently lift that heart up. And then return to the centre. So there's a little bit of centering happening at the core, just enough to keep the spine and pelvis neutral. Trying to keep the shoulders nice and relaxed, free from any tension. Let's go for another 4. Focusing yourself on that breath. Trying to keep the pelvis nice and still. And then coming back when you're ready, float the hands up, release the arms down, roll the shoulders. Lovely. So from here we're going to come down onto the mat. So carefully scooping yourself forwards, aligning the heels with the sit bones, reaching your arms long down by your sides. So we're now going to work with our shoulder bridge here. So reaching the arms long by your sides, reaching for your heels. We're going to inhale. As you exhale, start the pelvis in neutral and then tuck the tailbone, opening the front of the hips to peel yourself slowly away from the mat. So finding that nice articulation of the lower back. Push the knees away. Inhale at the top. Taking the arms up and over, stretching through the fingers, and then exhale, we're rolling down through the spine. Inhale, let the arms come down. Exhale, tuck, scoop, hollow, roll. Open the front of the hips, push the knees away from you. Inhale, float the arms up and over, stretch through your fingers, and then stretch the spine all the way back down to the mat. Inhale, let the arms come down. Exhale, tuck, scoop, hollow and roll the spine, push the knees away from you, open the front of the hips, so you're finding that gentle stretch in the front of the thighs. Take the arms up and over and then peel yourself back down again. Let's do 2 more here, nice and slowly, taking your time to mobilise the spine. Finding that rib-hip connection at the top, stretching the fingers away and then rolling down. And release. And then last one. Keeping the length in the back of the throat. And then let the arms relax down. Good. Lovely. So from here we're going to maintain this neutral setup of the pelvis, keeping our feet side by side and parallel. Let the elbows float away from the floor. We're now going to exhale to let one knee come out. So dropping one knee towards the mat. Inhale to come back. Exhale, let the other knee drop. Inhale to come back. So the focus of this exercise is to keep the pelvis as still and stable as possible as you gently mobilise the thigh inside the hip, gently moving through the sacroiliac joint. Let's go for one more on each side, really making sure that the pelvis is staying evenly weighted. And then gently come back to the centre. From here, carefully bring yourself over onto one side. Lift yourself up really gently. Good. And then we're going to organise ourselves ready for a glute stretch. So creating as much length in the body and spine as you can. We're then going to take ankle to opposite thigh, lift the heart up and just find a nice comfortable stretch. Focus yourself on the breath. Again, breathing in with what you need. Out with anything that's no longer serving you. Allow the shoulders to relax away from your ears. And then when you're ready, carefully untangle yourself and work onto the other side. So bringing that leg in, breathing, steady and smooth, feeling a gentle stretch. And then when you're ready, again releasing carefully. From here we're going to go into a hip flexor stretch. So it's really important when working through pregnancy to not push yourself to the end ranges of your stretching or stretches, and keeping it really tame so as to keep the joints in a really safe and healthy range. So we want to keep the pelvis nice and level. Gently tuck that pubic bone forwards and then just guide the hips forward a little bit until you feel a gentle stretch. Steer clear of pushing beyond where you know you can move and you're pushing yourself. So just move a little bit, be really gentle, very comfortable. And then just holding for a few rounds of breath. Hip flexors can become really tight and it's tempting to really go for it. But I think sometimes it's nicer to be more gentle and just tune into that breath, allowing the breath to let go of the tension rather than creating even more tension through straining ourselves. And then when you feel the stretch eases, you can gently release and transfer onto the other side. So again, aligning the pelvis as best you can, tucking the pubic bone forwards, tuning yourself into that breath as you guide the hips just the tiniest little bit forwards, creating a stretch in the front of the hip and thigh. Again, be really mindful, you want to stay out of that kind of deep stretch range. It's very, very gentle. Breathing steady and smooth and allowing that breath to do the work for you. So try to keep that sense of length working through the body as you breathe in with anything that feels good and out with anything that's no longer serving you. Sensing that movement of the diaphragm, feeling the knock-on effect that might have to the pelvic floor and how that might shift any tension. And then when you're ready, gently ease yourself out of the stretch. Bring yourself into a comfortable seated position. So you could cross your legs on a block or a cushion and then just take a moment to come into the body. Notice the state of your mind. So finishing as we started, just check in with any shift. Try to let those observations go free from any judgment. Allow the shoulders to release. Stay centered on that breath. Take a moment to be grateful for all your body enabled you to do, no matter how big or small it might seem. Thank you for joining me today. Well done. Have a good day and I'll see you